So good morning, YouTubers. I'm doing this video to show you a little bit of how I managed to put together Harbor Freight Super Duty utility trailer. This is the one that is rated to carry 1,720 pounds, and I love it, frankly. I'm doing this video kind of in two parts, just to show you what I've done before installing the deck, so that you can see what I put underneath. The first thing I wanted to say was the electrical instructions are pretty bad. The assembly instructions are good. I thought they were fine. I was able to follow them, but you need to take your time kind of sorting out what all the parts are and what they're called. There's no way of getting around that, because the parts are all there in the two boxes, but they're not labeled, they're not in packages with labels on them showing this is part number X. So you just kind of have to take your time on that, spend some time sorting out the parts and making sure you know what you're looking at. The electrical stuff is really bad, because I think the company's instructions are set up for an incandescent lighting system, and they've just recently gone to an LED lighting system. So the instructions aren't very good for that, particularly on the grounding issue. I've seen a lot of guys grinding up pieces of the enamel and stuff. I mean, trying to ground this thing on the trailer body is kind of a challenge, because you've got all of these multiple pieces that are put together, and as you can see, it's like Tinker Toys, and they're all enameled really well. So you're not really going to get a decent ground anywhere on this thing, because the electrical circuit is going to be cut off everywhere one piece meets another. So and you don't want to go grinding off your enamel, because then you're going to have to rust coat it. So I figured, I'm just going to do this the easy way. And so what I did is I just took the ground from my vehicle, from the plug. So you can see, I took the ground from the vehicle and I just ran an extra line down on both sides, so that each of the all of the lights have ground direct from my vehicle, as opposed to being grounded anywhere on the trailer body. And it took me quite a while to sort out how to do that. Another thing is, they don't say much about how to mount the wiring on the tongue. There really aren't any obvious outlets or holes that don't require drilling extra holes, and this steel is very heavy. Drilling through it is not easy. So all I did was I just took the leads there, and I ran them down along one side of the tow bar, and just taped it down for now. I'll figure out a more permanent way to attach that. And then I split it so that, right side, left side. So there's basically one set of wires with the ground running down that side, and another separate set of wires with the ground running down the other side. Another thing I got to mention is that if you're folding this thing, or if you're wanting to have the capability of folding it, there's really no way to run a wire through this tow bar that's going to not get messed up when you try to disengage the tongue and fold it down, because this joint right here, as you can see, it's got a little there's like a box welded in there that blocks any wire being run down the length of the tow bar, even if you wanted to do that. So what you really have to do is figure out a way to run your wires in a manner that you can detach them basically from the tow ball all the way down to the trailer body when you disconnect the tongue, and you want to swing it down like that, so that your whole wiring assembly has to be freed from the tongue in order to fold down. So as you can see, all I've done is I've taken some plastic conduit and taped it down to the framing with gaffer's tape, which is a temporary thing. I'll figure out some other solution to that, but I just wanted to show you the reality that you're going to have to come up with a way to completely disconnect all of your connection points for your conduit or your wiring from the tongue if you want to fold it down. Or you're going to have so much slack in there that it can adapt to, you know, taking that big swing down. So that's kind of a drag, but I overcame it. It's not that big a deal. I still really like the trailer. Here's the lights. They all work great. They're LEDs. Another thing I did is, you can see here, this is the tail light and the driver's side, and the wire on the OEM package comes out here, and it's not very well protected. And it's just the bare wires popping out of that case. I didn't like the look of that because that's where all the stuff from the road's coming up and hitting it. So what I did is I opened up the case, cut another hole in the side of it, and taped the wires so that they're a little better protected, and then drilled one hole in the trailer frame down here, put a rubber grommet in it so that the edges of the wire are protected. Then it comes around the other side here, pops out real nice and clean, just like that. As you can see, I've run the black conduit all the way up the trailer frame on both sides. Looks real clean and neat. Protects the wiring from weather, rocks, road debris, anything like that. It might pop up, mess you up. So I think all the wiring is really well protected. The manufacturer recommends bundling your extra wire down here. That's way too much to have there in order to, you know, allow the trailer to fold at that joint. But I figured, why not? I'll just have it in case something comes up and I need to splice some more wire in there. I'll have an extra supply kind of buried in the trailer. And there's the other side there. The instructions say you're only supposed to put one of these bolts in that middle one, and the other two are actually for the caster assembly, which I left off because for now I'm not folding the trailer and I know where the bolts are if I need them. I just put them in there for the extra support and just to know where the extras are in case I get to the point where I want to fold the trailer to store it, and I can easily put that caster assembly on there to do that. Finally, one thing I wanted to mention was I've seen a bunch of videos of people that just flop the plywood down on the deck there, and they don't do anything to deal with these bolts that are pretty deep. That bolt head is actually a 1/4 inch deep, and then there's a bit of a drop from that frame piece down to the part where you're going to actually attach your deck to the frame. So if you don't do something about those bolts, your deck's going to be kind of like a banana boat. It's going to have a pretty significant bow from side to side, and so I wanted to fix that so that the deck would lay flat on, at least on those parts, and any bow there is will just be this tiny bit right here, which is about 1/8 of an inch probably. So what I did is I just sort of did a little work with a ruler to try to locate the bolts on the bottom side of the deck when I had it laid out. And you can see I just bored into the plywood with a boring bit. Make it a large bit, largest one, well, my largest one's 1 inch, because that way you've got a little play on both sides as you're trying to center your piece on the deck, and you can get a nice straight fit on the deck placement before you drill all your holes for securing the deck to the frame. So you can see this is 3/4 ply, 3/4 CDX. Good plywood for this app. A lot of people use half. I don't like that because if you put a heavy load in there, that wood's going to move. I mean, it's always going to move a little, but 3/4 will move a lot less. And when the wood moves, your bolts move. And when your bolts move, your bolts get loose over time. So you kind of want to avoid that. So I would recommend the 3/4. It's a little heavier, but for this trailer, it doesn't matter. It's the difference in weight is negligible. And I'll do the rest in once I got the deck down, so you can see the finished product, because I got some great stuff going on for mounting the stakes and doing the fence and all that. So that's it for now. You'll see the rest in the second video that follows this one. Thanks.